That's right. We're getting the studio filled in right now. We got 2 girls, 1 mic in here. I love this. So we got Tabitha Brownstone and Joy Gohring. I'm so glad you guys made it. I know it can be kind of hectic, down here. I think all the college kids are stuck in midterms or something. I don't know. But let's get that mic close to you guys.
To us. They didn't want to look at us even.
I know.
What?
I have to park out where you guys do too. Takes me forever to walk.
Why did but why do the college kids not want to look at you?
They all had their headphones in, and we were like, excuse, okay, not you, excuse, and it was just not working out.
Yeah, I mean, isn't that kind of strange how, us millennials, we just, want to cancel out and just...
Human interaction is so important.
I know, right? But let's just keep it online, so, it just makes me feel good inside.
We just text them, do you know where the student union is?
Yeah,
I just airdropped them.
Right.
Questions.
Totally,
Here, let me bring that mic closer to you, because I know it's... these mics are really, really sensitive. And let me scoot over, because I got daddy long legs or something.
My chair is really tall because I'm a shorty.
But I mean, ladies, please share the mic. And
it's 2 girls, 2 mics right now. It's very confusing.
I know it's gonna confuse
funny.
all the listeners and everybody on the live stream right now.
That's comedy, okay.
Yes. But please tell everybody that's tuning in. Tell them who you are.
I'm Tabitha Brownstone. I'm an actress, a writer, comedian. I've been acting for pretty much my whole life. Started doing stand-up quite a while ago. And have just been doing that and creating my own stuff. I do a lot of Instagram content and funny videos on my Instagram.
Yes, you do.
I saw.
Yeah, always posting some crazy stuff. I do a ton of character work, and that was actually part of our show. Was I did a character in that, and that's pretty much
Edith.
who I am. Edith.
No, I mean, what is with this alter ego of Edith?
I've always been someone. I love Stella Adler. I love Uta Hagen. So the inspiration for Edith really came from that. There's this one video of Stella Adler screaming at Mark Ruffalo when he was in her acting class, and he went on stage in some ridiculous costume, and she just tore him a new one. She was like, "If you ever come back here," and I really took a lot of inspiration from that. I said, this is amazing. This is inspirational, how she treats this man. And I said, that's what I want to do. And so I now do Edith on stage. I bring people up. I tell them they're never going to make it. They're never going to be a star.
I mean, man, you are brutal. And
It's brutal.
And Joy, what about yourself? I mean, I know you've been in it for a while. I mean, you've been grinding nonstop and
I have, my name is Joy Gohring. That's who I am. And I've been doing comedy pretty much my whole life as well. I've toured around the United States, Canada, United Kingdom. I've toured all over the world. And I took a break and for a few years, and then I came back. And that's, I started writing again, and that's when I met Tabitha. So it's fun to kind of come back and see how comedy has changed.
Yeah.
And it's weird because usually I know who everybody is, and so I'm still getting my bearings and being like, oh yeah, that's who that person is, and they're hilarious.
Yeah.
And I also write and direct. So that's why kind of I stepped out of it, is because I've been writing and directing a lot. I do.
Your scenes are funny on your website.
Thank
I
you.
was the one with the kid where the parents are like, $50,000. I was like, why am I going to do that later on? I have a daughter, right? And I'm so doing this.
Thank you. Yeah,
Be funny. I want $50,000.
Yes.
it's true. That's what parents do these days. Anything to get anybody on some sort of social media to be funny and make money, which is what we're doing. Hi, everyone.
Yeah, right. And that's the best. But I mean, I'm sure everybody wants to know, how did you guys get together?
We took a class. We took a stand-up comedy class.
Oh, okay.
And
that's great.
Yeah. Pretty much the biggest thing I got out of that class was an amazing group of female comedians who I write with. We go to shows together. We go to open mics together. And it was extremely valuable for that.
Was it an ongoing class, or is it like a workshop 6 weeks? I took one that was like a 6-week workshop
cool.
thing.
Right.
Amazing.
So,
yeah.
It was more of a 6-week workshop.
Okay.
I think it's 8 weeks maybe.
Yeah, and and then you have a performance at the
Yes,
end,
and
which
you
is
keep
great.
going. Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
I mean, I used to always make this joke that it's like, I always see these master classes and, the one with Steve Martin about teaching comedy. And I'm always crapping on it all the time because I'm always like, you can't teach comedy. It's like, go and stick and play the banjo if you want to really teach somebody. But you guys are defying that. You guys are actually making me feel
I don't
so
know.
wrong.
I'm going to jump in. I actually kind of disagree. I think you can teach comedic. There's timing, and there's a lot of and you guys, I want you to talk on this.
Yes.
Because I'm an actress too, and I tried comedy and doing stand-up, and I was good at it. I had a natural knack for it. but it was so much work, and I'm kind of lazy that I was like, nah, not for me. So ladies, do you think, I mean, are you with Chris that you can't teach comedy? Either you have or don't?
Not, because they took lessons.
Or like me, like any craft, you can continue to evolve and grow with it?
Yeah, I'm sort of from the same school of thought. As an actor, it's like you take acting classes. You want to get better at acting, you take a class. You want to get better at comedy, you take a class. There's classes for sitcom acting. There's classes for dramatic acting, and it's just beats. That's basically what it is. It's about the rhythm of your voice, when you stop, when you start talking again, how you relate to people. And I found that from an acting background, it was easier to not have stage fright, which is what really holds people back.
So you did a lot of, did you do theater?
I did a lot of theater.
That's why. Theater for me was so much like that, because reading the audience, feeling the pulse.
Well, that would probably
film was different. It was like, wait, cut. I didn't like that.
Well, that would probably help me out too. I've always wanted to do stand up. I'm not that funny, but I get
I'm
stage
glad you
fright.
know that.
But that's but I just feel comfortable when I'm in the studio, because it's like, I'm just in my own space. So I think that's great that like it can pull something out of you that maybe like you've always had this fear of, but it gets you comfortable.
I think that's the number one thing is letting go of the fear of feeling ridiculous, of being vulnerable, of sharing a truth about yourself, and just being like, can we cuss on the show? I don't know.
No,
okay,
we gotta
keep
it. Yeah, we gotta
just
refrain.
that's the first time I've ever heard that answer. Every podcast is like, "Can I curse on?" Of course.
Well, we're actually on
good.
radio.
Just
we're
be
not,
like,
we're not,
you have to be like, you have to be like, beep this. You know what I mean? But you have to you just have to let it go, and you have to. I mean, to me, the way anyone is ever going to relate to you is if you're being vulnerable.
Right.
And if you can do that in a funny way, then the audience is going to be like, oh, me too. How many times have people said, that's funny because it's true?
You're right.
And what we're hoping to do is be like, okay, we've had this crazy life experience. Have you? And then people go, okay, me too.
Right.
The little pinky comes up.
Yeah. Or if they haven't, they can see where you're coming from and then relate to that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I have a question. So now we know how you guys started. What I find fascinating about comedy when we have comedic guests come on, if you haven't seen them live, really knowing what the material is hard to find, because you guys don't really put as much material online like YouTube, because you don't want your stuff stolen. So your name, Two Girls, One Mic. When I heard it, I immediately assumed that you guys were two girls on a stage fighting over a mic.
Yeah.
And then talking and stuff, you're like, nope, we don't do that. So how did you get the name? Because that's exactly what I thought. I was like, oh, how funny. What a funny comedic get.
Yeah, it was honestly, it was that we, I got the show. I was like, okay, I want Joy to be on the show with me. So we were just throwing out names we could.
We were just talking about that. Yeah. Tabitha, I go, you came up with a great name. She goes, I came up with it? And I go, yeah, I did. Oh, wait, you did. So we don't remember. It was just brainstorming, which is so funny because my dad would have no idea what that means, and thank God.
Yeah, right. Because I know when I was thinking of Two Girls, One Mic, I always sadly think of Two Girls, One Cup.
Correct.
Yeah,
exactly.
and is that kind of did you tie that in a little
comedy.
bit?
That's comedy.
That's true.
Yeah.
And Chris,
and Marissa,
you actually got something funny.
Oh,
I'm gonna have this recognition right now.
But I mean, Marissa, you actually brought a pretty interesting point, which is, comedians nowadays, they have to start adapting with streaming, social media, podcasts, to find any kind of other way to deliver your kind of material. And how do you guys, or ladies, I keep saying guys, how do you ladies adjust to this kind of new state of mind, I guess, that's happening in comedy right now?
Well, it's hard to keep up with, for sure. It can be overwhelming. There's Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. Thank God Vine died, because I don't know how I would survive. But it's just about continuing to create content and putting it out there. If you don't create the content, you won't have the audience following you. So that's the most important part about being an artist in any capacity. As a writer, as an actress, as a comedian, I always want to be showing my audience what I'm doing next.
Right.
So it's and putting my clips online, I don't know that it's more about people stealing my jokes. I'm not totally worried about that. I talk about my own father being hot. And so if someone else is my dad's really hot, then I'm like, what are you talking about?
Wait, please tell me more. What exactly do you mean
my dad is gorgeous.
She's got a hot dad.
He's a beautiful
That's what's up.
of a man. Yeah.
Wow. I mean, at least that's so brutally honest. I mean, because I always have this thing, if you were dating a comedian, I bet it's got to be pretty tough.
I've never done that.
Never done
would
that.
never
and
do
you
that.
refuse it.
I would.
And
hello,
why
this
is
on, I would
that?
never do
She
that.
dates funny people, though.
I date funny people. It's just.
Are they
everything is
awkward
so-
funny, or is that
No.
no?
What do you mean by awkward
I
funny?
don't know, because if you're a comedian, you're probably just funny all the time, and maybe this person's not trying to be funny, but you're just constantly giggling at them all the
I
time.
cry a lot. I cry
Oh.
all the time. It's not.
It's true.
There is
Sometimes
comedy
we cry
in tears.
together. Sometimes we cry apart.
Oh my gosh.
But yeah.
What streaming platform do you two prefer as far as trying to get your work out there for people to see?
I mean, because I actually worked, I get paid to write and direct. I like Vimeo.
Yeah.
Yes.
But I am very aware that most people just type into YouTube, and so you kind of have to cross-platform. But I also I've really started to like Instagram
I love
stories.
Instagram.
I love
a
Instagram.
lot. I'm not so crazy about Facebook stories, although it's
No.
all the same, I guess. But
No,
somehow.
Instagram's way
Well, I
better.
think
Yeah.
I think that's kind of the thing, because I always have this philosophy that like some of us kind of missed that YouTube train when it happened, and I really do believe that IGTV is like the next big thing that's
I
popping.
agree.
Yeah.
I
Right?
totally agree.
Because like you take out all the nonsense that's on Facebook. It's like a family yearbook or just politics 24/7, and it's just so daunting 24/7. But I love that like everything's starting to adapt on digital stuff, because Mad Magazine, that was like one of my favorites, but it just went kaput, like
Right.
literally just soon. And that's why a lot of people have to really adapt to this. And to ask you guys real quick, because I thought this was interesting. On the first day of the year, Netflix released 47 stand-up specials. And in July, they just recently went through kind of a comedy recession, they're saying, because they lost over $26 billion in 1 week.
Did they lose that from the comedy specials, or
That's-
just in general?
Well, that's what they're saying, because they've been heavily investing a lot of money into stand-up specials more and more recently. But that
I don't
leads
know
to an
if that,
interesting
yeah, that's
point.
interesting because I watch their comedy stuff. I love it. I'm like, ooh, another comedy
yeah.
show.
Yeah, I do too.
Another
Yeah,
comedy
same.
show.
Yeah, like I
get
just
really
watched
happy.
Nikki Glaser. It was
I
hilarious.
just watched Nikki. Yeah,
Wasn't
last
that
night.
great?
Yeah, she's great. Yeah.
And so I don't know. I mean, I'm just so excited that there's more and more comedy coming out, because I think it's good for your health. I think some people just need to relax, get a little sarcastic once in a while, and just kind of just chill. But I know we're actually be going into a commercial break real soon. But please tell all the listeners where they can find you all over social media.
I can be found pretty much anywhere. Tabitha_BS for Brownstone.
Another funniness.
TABITHA.
And I can be found just by Googling my name as well, Joy Gohring. There's a silent H, GOHRING, or Joy of Film on Instagram.
Yeah, that is so amazing. And you guys are so funny. And I'm all trying to find
And
my
for
old
those
paperwork.
of you who have been streaming with us this morning, please continue to listen to our show by going to chriscollinshow.com and click on the on air button.
That's right, and we'll be right back. That's right, we're on. This is the Chris Collins Show. We got two girls, one mic. They're phenomenal female comedians. And we got Tabitha Brownstone and Joy Gohring in the studio. And, I just want to have been asking you this, because I feel like this has been a question that keeps happening all over the internet recently, where should comedians have to evolve and adapt with how the world culture is going? Because... I'm starting to see some head nods. I mean,
I think yes.
Absolutely. Finish your question.
Well, no. I mean, that's really what it is, because with me, I just miss that good old-fashioned Mad TV. I mean, I just loved it so much, and I know Joy.
I think there's a nostalgia for whatever generation or whenever you kind of awoke to comedy, whether it's Monty Python or
Beavis and Butthead.
Beavis and Butthead,
Right.
Simpsons,
and
whatever
Stimpy.
SNL cast you came
Yeah.
into,
Yeah.
whatever age that you kind of awoke. It could be when you were 15, it could be when you're 30, So there's definitely a nostalgia, but adaptation is imperative. If we're not taking a look at what's going on with the world and what's in the zeitgeist, then it's affecting each other. It's kind of like a dance, right?
Yeah.
The comedians we're experiencing what's happening to us, and we're mirroring back to our audiences, hopefully. And hopefully we're one step ahead. Maybe we're not.
Yeah.
Maybe we're one step behind, and we have to catch up. But you
And
have
I
to
think
adapt.
Wanda Sykes really had a great interview. She had her material, and she went into a room and she had like a Trump joke or something going on and was booed. I mean, on stage.
So
and everything.
lame.
And she came across and she said, you know what? As a comedian, she should have known what room she was doing her
Yeah,
material
absolutely.
too.
We talked about
And
that.
it wasn't that she was like
Okay.
against her joke. She goes, as a performer, they're paying to see me.
But
and,
I'm always
and to have
wondering
it.
that too, though, because it's like, do you guys just go in and you just want to deliver your material, or do you sometimes like, oh my gosh, this is a rough crowd tonight, and we got to adapt to whatever the feel of the room is?
Yeah, I mean, you always have to adapt to whatever the feel of the room is. I've been in rooms where it was like, I could say anything, and these people are on laughing gas, and they're just laughing hysterically
Right.
at everything, which is, it's, and then I've also been in rooms where it's like, oh, this is tough, and I really have to work the audience, and like,
That's her parents' house.
yeah, but it's about reading the room, and I mean, honestly,
Yeah.
right now the room is like the current state of political and
'cause I was-
social affairs we're in. So it would be crazy, I think, for anyone to be stuck in a certain era of comedy or not be able to grow and develop just as a human being. And that's
Yeah.
part of doing comedy is figuring out how to change and grow over time.
Yeah, I mean, you think about it, like if you're talking to a bunch of teenagers versus talking to a bunch of moms,
Right.
you're going to adapt. You're not, or it's
Yeah.
like you're talking to your grandma or you're talking to your best friend. You're adapting in that room. So it's not too dissimilar when you're on stage as a comedian. You're not going to be like, "Yo, what's up, grandma?" You know, you're going to have some deference for possibly, unless grandma's like totally hip. But, you know, like
Which would be awesome.
which is sometimes that happens. But-
No, and that's a good point, because I mean, I know a lot of the times, like, people think they expect to go to a stand-up show and they're expecting to hear like a politically factual, like correct kind of statement, but a lot of people like to go and be above and beyond that reach. And I always love what Rami Youssef said. He was always saying that, like, it's like going to an ice cream shop and being disappointed that they don't serve pizza. You know, it's like, how, like, that's why you got to just adapt and do something just totally different, which leads me to my next question. A lot of the times, with me personally, I feel like I see it in my family all the time. Everybody's getting their news on late night shows, or let's say The Daily Show with Trevor Noah, and they're using
I love.
comedy to get their news source. Does that scare you as a comedian, or like?
I don't think it scares me. I think it's exciting that we have so many different viewpoints to take opinions from. I think what's dangerous is only having black and white, where it's
Sure.
you have to choose one side, you have to be with one type of person, and it's like you should be able to get news from all different sorts of sources.
Right.
And I think having comedians tell news is important because you can take a different mindset about it. You can think about it in a different way you wouldn't have thought of before.
Yeah.
And you can also let go of a lot of the stress that we're having. Which
Thank you. I was about to say that.
Yeah.
Reading an article and then seeing the same type of news but being presented by someone like Trevor Noah. And I'm laughing because I'm like, yeah, that's
Right.
exactly what whether I was thinking that or not, or disagreed with something, I would still laugh. Because I'm like, oh, you're so funny, Trevor.
Yeah, I think that's cool, but it just kind of scared me because I saw in the Pew Research Center report that back in July, they were saying that over 65% of Americans receive their news on Facebook.
That's
and
horrible.
less than less than 20% of them actually open up their news app.
Yeah, that's scary.
That's scary.
That's
That's
scary.
scary. Well,
You know?
because also that's headlines,
Right.
which are alarming
Right.
and ridiculous and just
And
show-
rabbit hole articles that
Yeah.
have no scientific fact base,
Right, and
nothing
like-
behind it.
And
Yeah.
some people, they just read the clickbait, and that,
Yeah.
like that's literally it.
Is that
And
your
it's-
dad? Are you talking about your dad?
Uh-oh, Dad. Marissa's calling you out right
I'm
now.
just kidding.
Kevin. Uh-oh.
So does my daddy.
He's going to be texting me right
right.
now during the show.
But
Please
Joy,
don't.
Joy, I have a question for you. So I saw on your YouTube channel, it's pretty awesome, that you performed on the Craig Kilborn show.
I did.
Yeah.
So what was that experience
Oh,
like?
good Lord. Digging deep.
Yes.
Digging
Yes.
deep.
Oh, yes, we did.
That was really fun. I mean, obviously, it was. Okay, guess what I'm saying. It was funny because we did a slow. We did a slow build. I was performing with another woman on that
Yeah.
show. I used to be part of a comedy team called Gohring and Stein, and
Okay.
we got on that show. But it was a slow build, and so it was funny because I think Craig was like, "Oh God, are they gonna?" And then by the end, the audience was singing with us and clapping with us, and then he invited us over to the chair, and that was like really fun.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
Well, it was funny. It reminded me of Dare. Like when I was going to school with the Dare programs and it was a sing along, and it was like you had I remember as a kid,
Aw.
like chanting along, like "Say no to pot," and like
Yeah,
"Turn your
right.
parents in."
No,
And it brought me back to my childhood seeing that. And I was
that's
like,
sweet.
that's so cool.
Again, that's coming from like your comedy nostalgia. Like
Yes.
we're all gonna come, and then there will be people that will relate, and then like what Tabitha was saying, there will people who be like, oh, that's interesting. That's a world that I'm now opened up to because this comedian is sharing that with me.
Yeah, and that's true. And I think especially that's got to be a really, really big deal to be on a late night show. And I know there's always got to be those times where you might freak out, and there's occasional moments where you might tank on the show. Do you guys always have that like maybe backup plan where you guys always like, do you look at somebody in the crowd, or is there always someone set up for you to kind of save you in the moment?
So no, there's no.
No one will save you. No, I'm kidding.
What's funny
Maybe
is
it's good for you to actually have that shame at one
it's
point.
sad but funny watching a comedian just tank.
Well, but also you have to.
Right.
You have to do it. It's like, as an actor, like having a bad experience on set, you need to know what it feels like.
Yes.
And also it just happens regardless if you need to
Right.
know.
Yes.
You
That's
just
hilarious.
sometimes you're not relating with the audience. Sometimes you didn't read the room. Sometimes they just don't want to laugh. So it's like
And a good performer will take that, I don't want to say negative, but that experience and grow and adapt to it.
yeah.
What are you doing? Oh,
No, I was
like,
just
you're
saying,
doing.
I'm like sweating.
Chris is,
Are you guys
No,
doing
I'm
hand
like-
signals
I'm
now?
just like,
Chris is doing
no,
some
I'm
weird
just
hand
like, no, I'm like
movement. I was like, what are
randomly
you
like
doing?
sweatily
I know.
like pulsing as if I was the one that just tanked right now, and I don't even know why.
See,
I'm
this
so-
is a perfect example, but we're all
Exactly.
gonna pick ourselves back. No, okay.
right,
It's
but
just-
it's
Chris
like you
can't
called
handle all
attention
these
to
women.
it.
All
No,
these
I'm just
women,
like,
Chris.
my
You're
eyes are
sweating.
getting all foggy, and I'm like, what the hell is going on with my body?
See, but that's part
more
of that's
water.
good. If you were on stage, you'd need to call attention to something
Right.
like that. Like
instead
I've
of
been on-
pretending not.
Because then you know how to control your physical and mental state of mind in the moment.
And when you're calling attention to it, newsflash, everyone has these moments.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's why everyone's relieved. They're like, oh, he knows. Okay, I'm safe. I'm
Right.
safe. I'm safe. Okay, she knows. Okay,
Yep.
great. Like I've done that. Like you trip and fall, and if you just
Yeah.
go, but if you go, that's what's up. Hey, everybody. Snack.
Yeah, you just got to sell it. You got to keep delivering
Sell
it.
it.
And I just want to ask you guys real quick, and I mean, because I know female comedians, they are popping in 2019. I think it's the year of female comedians right now. And is there anybody that you look towards that you're just like, I'm loving? I mean, it doesn't have to just be females. If there's a male, you could say that too.
Never.
No, I don't think so. There's not a lot of men out there, so I don't know if I could pick one.
Yeah.
No, okay.
I liked Bill Burr. I thought that was really funny and sarcastic. But for female, I really liked the Nikki Glaser. I thought that was really funny because it really was geared towards a female audience. And even though it could be a little awkward for 20 minutes talking about blowjobs, but I mean, it was
Only
really,
if. Never mind.
You can say that. You can say that on this show.
Wow.
Well, you can say blowjobs
You can say beep jobs.
or beep straps.
So, who's your favorite female comedian right now?
Someone I am loving is this woman, Kat Cohen. She is based in New York. She has a show at Club Cumming, which is Alan Cumming's club.
Oh yeah, another club. Okay,
Yeah.
Kat Cohen. I'm gonna have to look her up.
She
Okay.
is absolutely amazing. She does like comedy cabaret, basically, where she's singing these comedic songs. And she was just in Edinburgh for the Fringe Festival there, which
In
we
Scotland.
went to in
Yes.
Scotland. And she won all sorts of awards. She was sold out every single night. I am so lucky
She's
and so happy I got to
ridiculous
see her.
and so fun.
Okay.
Yeah,
Especially
she's
if
amazing.
you can make the people in Scotland laugh, honestly, or in England, they're very tough with their comedy, with their stuff. If you can make them laugh, you are doing something right.
They have a different culture, so it's
Yeah, my
it's
husband's
like,
English,
yeah,
and
yeah.
he's not funny. He thinks he is, but I'm like, no, you're not.
Are the English funny? Actually, they're so funny. They're so
in a
funny.
way.
In a way. In a tiny way.
But really, are you guys having a stand-up show that's going to be happening anytime soon?
Yeah, we definitely have shows lined up. We're going to be doing our show again at a bigger venue, so that's really exciting. We're working towards that. Pretty much the best way to find out about our shows is following us on social media, which again, Tabitha_BS and Joy Gohring.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And like literally, you need to follow these amazing women. They are 2 girls, 1 mic, and I know they're going to be sticking around because we still got a whole show.
That's
and we're going to be
right.
going right on into it. And I'm always losing my paperwork today. But I wanted to remind everybody that if you are listening to the Chris Collins Show and you love what you're hearing, come on, support the show and become a member today. What's good, listeners? I'm the host of the Chris Collins Show, and if you like what you see, hit the subscribe button below and check us out at thechriscollinsshow.com. Peace.